So this is the VIZONY E1 projector. This is the latest budget projector from their lineup. At the time of making this video, this comes in at only 105 bucks. You get a ton of features, Wi-Fi 6, wireless casting, and the biggest one is autofocusing. So that's gonna give you a nice sharp 1080 picture from corner to corner. It has mirror cast, AirPlay, so you can easily cast with this, and it's even got two-way Bluetooth as well. The built-in speakers on this are pretty good as well, so we're gonna get into all that here. VIZONY did send this over, they sponsored this video. I've got a little bit of a relationship with them. You've seen some of their other products on the channel here, but don't worry, I've got tons of objective testing coming up. I'm gonna show you some sound samples, and I'm also gonna show you some navigation with some streaming platforms. I hooked this up wirelessly to my MacBook. I also hooked this up to my Roku player and my Amazon Fire Stick TV as well. So probably one of the biggest things on this is the autofocusing. That's really been one of the biggest innovations I've noticed in this budget projector space since I first started testing them out back in like 2016. Back then you would have the scroll wheel on the top, you'd have an autofocus and a keystone correction, and it was all manual. What the autofocusing on these has done is, in my opinion, it really helped clear up any kind of muddying around the edges of the picture. You would get a little bit of a blur and it just would not look super sharp. You know, if you had your setup anything other than perfectly direct on, always some part of your image was gonna be out of focus. So with this projector boasting autofocus technology in here, that is a huge thing for setup and just for the picture quality in general. I didn't notice any spots on my images while testing this that were out of focus. You can see here, for example, I kind of did a little bit of a scan around the whole screen when I had some of my streaming services up like Netflix, and you can see the thumbnails. You can see that text in the top left corner. You'll see some of the video preview that's playing. All of it looks really nice and sharp. You'll have no problem whatsoever with that native 1080p looking at and seeing and deciphering all the text in your streaming services, documents, websites, etc. So this will show you native 1080p. You can play 4K through this, but basically your native resolution is going to be downscaled to that 1080p, which honestly on a 100-inch screen like I have here that you'll see throughout the video, it looks pretty darn good. While we're talking about that autofocus, that's one of the things you can set up. It comes on by default when it turns on the projector. You also have a focus option for focusing and defocusing on the remote as well that they give you. You do need 2 AAA batteries in order to power that remote, but otherwise it's got your volume and any other controls on there. When you're going through the actual setup and some of the settings on this projector, you'll see some other options as well. They call like trapezoid, I think, function that was set to off by default. Honestly, that kind of just repositions it away if something's going to be completely blocking it. In my experience, that's not something you ever really want to have to use, so I did keep that off. Like other budget projectors, this does also have the zoom function. It's a little bit of a misnomer because it's zoom, but it's really kind of zooming out. You can't zoom in anymore, but basically if you need to decrease the picture size, you can go from 100% all the way down to 50%. So that can be very helpful depending on your setup. You can see just how compact this is. It's very easy to handle. It's literally under 3 pounds. So for taking this with you or just moving it around your house, maybe using it outside for an outdoor movie or game night, you can just see how convenient this is. It's got a 1 1/4 to 1 throw ratio, and it's got a lot of other setup options. On the bottom here, you have a 1/4-inch tripod thread. So if you do want to throw this up on a full-size tripod, you're very easily able to do that. So now let's get to the part. I'm going to show you some video and audio samples coming from this projector here, but at the same time we're also going to test the AirPlay functionality and some of the wireless communication with this. So I think one of the biggest other selling points with this projector is the Wi-Fi 6 because it has Miracast and AirPlay as well built in. Now I have Google Fiber that allows me up to 1 gig for upload and download speeds. I think that really helps too. If you're kind of hindered by your internet connection performance and you have some spotty service, you're kind of going to be at the mercy of that. But if you've got a good solid internet connection, then this actually performed way snappier than I expected it to, and it left me pretty impressed. So I'm going to show you here is one of my YouTube videos. I was playing YouTube off of my MacBook Pro, and I was AirPlaying it wirelessly, casting it over to this VIZONY E1 projector. So the audio you're going to hear is coming from a couple feet away from this projector, straight out of these 8-watt speakers. And what you're going to be seeing is the projected image off of this projector too. So we're doing a combination test here of the wireless casting capabilities, the video quality, and the sound quality. Take a look though, I honestly do not think the latency is very bad at all with this doing a wireless cast. So here we go. So here's the power cable. Again, that's going to go right on that bottom part of the projector on the back. So you've got that. They do give you this user manual here as well. They also give you a full-size HDMI cable here. So that's really nice. As I said, you can pretty much hook this up. It's HDMI to HDMI. You can hook this up to really anything. Gaming systems, hook that up to your laptops, streaming devices, DVD players, anything really. All right, so there you go. So there's kind of your quick little unboxing, some of the stuff that's included there. And like I said, I am pretty impressed actually with the lack of latency. You know, there's a slight little bit there, but you really got to look for it. It's really not very obtrusive to, you know, my video watching experience. So I've been streaming like this. Like I said, I'm literally using the AirPlay from a MacBook Pro over to this projector, and everything's looking pretty good. You know, watching YouTube videos and other things like that, I'm not having any issues. The one thing of note when you're wirelessly casting is that you cannot cast copyrighted content. So that is not a thing with just this specific projector here. That's with any projector, you know, any of these sources where you're wirelessly casting something. Basically, due to copyright laws, these apps are going to have that blocked. So for most things like Netflix, Hulu, you know, Prime, you're not going to be able to wirelessly cast that over. So if you're looking to use those specific apps, you're going to want to hook up something, like I said, like a Fire Stick, a Roku player, anything like that, and that's going to give you a nice smooth experience. So if you don't have the greatest wireless connection maybe in your house, you still have your hardwired connections on the back here. Your power cable is going to go right here on the bottom. You've got a USB here, so you can use that either for files or you can use that to power your device. When I hooked up my Amazon Fire Stick to this, for example, I was able to plug into the USB right here for my power source, and then you don't have to worry about powering that elsewhere. And you get two-way Bluetooth on this, and as you just heard the audio, you get those 8-watt speakers built in. There is also a 3.5 millimeter aux jack here, so if you want to do a line out, and you want to have, you know, absolute zero latency, you can do that. Your IR sensor's on the back here, and then you get a full-size HDMI port. So pretty much anything you want to hook up to this, you know, any modern devices especially, you're going to be able to do that through that HDMI port. You are going to get the remote, as I previously mentioned too, but you also have this full button row here. So if you just don't have that nearby, or say you lose your remote in the future, you can do everything also through these buttons on top. So the picture quality on this is pretty darn good. This is 450 ANSI lumens, so that's the exact brightness of this model. And I think it looks really good. The colors and everything on here I thought were accurately represented pretty well. As I said, I was using AirPlay over from my MacBook Pro to this E1 projector here. And everything you're seeing in this video, that's a 100-inch diagonal screen that I'm projecting onto. Just to give you a quick example, you can see here I did a little pan of where the projector was and kind of the size of the room that I'm using here. So, you know, this room I could pretty much seat like, you know, maybe 5 people in there the way it's set up. So this is just a small kind of over the garage room that I test this in, and having this probably about 9 feet away or so is usually what it amounts to, gave me the 100 inches diagonally. So the further away you have this, the bigger picture you're gonna get. If you bring it closer, it's gonna be a smaller picture. But looking at my laptop screen as I was casting over to this projector, the colors actually look pretty accurate. The main difference I noted was, you know, the brightness is a little different than my laptop screen. My MacBook Pro screen could get a lot more brighter, therefore it looks a little more vibrant than what you're seeing here with this VIZONY E1 projector. But that being said, 450 lumens looks pretty darn good. This is going to be mainly for nighttime viewing, or, you know, once the sun's going down, that's when you're going to get the best out of this projector. But you're getting native 1080p. Like I said, colors looks pretty good in my opinion, and I've been very happy with this overall. And as I said, this has 8-watt speakers built in. Some of VIZONY's higher up offerings have more like 12-watt speakers built in. I didn't notice that as much as I thought. So let me present to you here, I've got a few audio samples of some different kind of songs and music styles where you can kind of listen to this yourself and see what you think. So I think this VIZONY E1 projector delivers tremendous value. As I mentioned, this is their newest kind of budget projector here compared to their VIZONY DP04 projector, which I've reviewed, which is another budget projector. This one now comes in slightly above that. I would recommend this one over that just because this has the autofocusing where that one has the manual focusing and keystone correction on it still. So as I said in the beginning of the video, having that autofocusing on here is huge, as well as having that Wi-Fi 6 and the snappy operation of the Miracast and the AirPlay. You'll get a lot of use out of this, and as you see, it's got pretty good audio built in. You can always hook up a speaker to it, whether it's wired or Bluetooth, and you can do a lot of different things with this projector, whether you can use it indoors or outdoors. If you want to see the full unboxing of this projector that I previously did, as well as some of my other tips for setting this up, that video will be popping up at the end and I'll have that linked below. So I've got a whole budget projector playlist. Like I said, I've reviewed a few other VIZONY projectors on the channel here. If you want to grab this, there's going to be an affiliate link in the comments and description. Make sure to subscribe for my other projector and TV reviews and tips, and I'll see you on the next one.